Derek was just supposed to fix the Wi-Fi. That's what the work order said. Nothing more. No hidden agendas, no secret compartments. Just a routine call in a quiet Arizona suburb where the fences are high and the stairs last too long. It was 3:14 p.m. when he stepped out of his van tool bag in one hand, tablet in the other. 38 minutes later, someone dialed 911. A teenager, tall, pale, nervous, peering through the blinds, whispered into the phone like he'd seen something evil. "There's a black man messing with the cables." The operator asked if he was armed. The teen paused. "He keeps looking at our house like he knows us." The truth. Derek had never been on that street before. You're not just watching this, you're part of it now. You found this clip buried in a hard drive, tucked between corrupted folders, as if someone didn't want it seen. But it's real, every frame, every scream. And what happened when the cops showed up is where the story should have ended. But DIDN, single quotes T. Officer Bradley, the first on the scene, would later swear the air shifted the moment he stepped onto the driveway, like walking into a dream you weren't supposed to remember. The wind was still, the birds were gone, and Derek wasn't speaking, just staring at the router box, his lips barely moving, like whispering something too quiet for the world. The officers didn't cuff him right away. There was a hesitation, something about his eyes. Then the younger one, the rookie, touched his shoulder. Derek looked up and whispered a name, not his name, not theirs, a name none of them had ever spoken before. A name the body cam footage failed to capture, but the audio spiked as if something else was speaking beneath his breath. That's when the power went out, not just in the house, not just the block. Half the grid went dark for 7 seconds, exactly 7. When the lights flicked back on, Derek was gone. The rookie swears he didn't blink. It gets worse. They pulled up the footage, frame by frame. The moment Derek disappeared, a reflection in the window behind him showed a woman's face, but there was no woman there. And when they slowed the audio down to a crawl, you can hear a second voice under Derek's whisper, raspy, distant, almost maternal, saying, he remembers. The family inside the house moved the next morning, left everything behind. Clothes, furniture, even the dog. Their numbers disconnected. No forwarding address. The teen who made the call, last seen at a gas station in Nevada, staring at a wall of static on a payphone that no longer worked. He kept asking the cashier, what if he was never fixing the Wi-Fi? There's one more thing. The device Derek carried, that company-ish tablet, was mailed back to headquarters. No return address. When they opened it, there was only one file, untitled, corrupted, mostly, but one line could be recovered. A message burned into the screen like a scar. It said, it's not broken, it's listening. And now that you've heard it, you might start hearing her too. The message, it's not broken, it's listening, lingered like a scream in a soundproof room, trapped, circling, waiting for the right moment to rise again. For nearly 2 weeks, the footage sat untouched in a digital evidence locker in Flagstaff PD's basement. Then something began to shift. The audio file, the one from the body cam, recompressed itself, not once, 5 times. And every time they opened it, the whispering voice got louder, not clearer, just louder, like it was pressing up against the speakers, aching to crawl out. Detective Harper Monroe was the only one who kept listening. Not because she believed it, she didn't, or she told herself she didn't. But there was something about Derek's eyes right before he vanished that reminded her of someone. Her brother, maybe, or the night her mother tried to speak through the television before overdosing in their Phoenix apartment. Trauma has a way of making the impossible feel like memory. Of making memory feel like the start of something much worse. Harper lit her 4th cigarette in the station's boiler room. Even though she quit 7 years ago, she didn't notice the static hissing from the vents, or that the humming in the walls had adopted a rhythm. One long, too short, a pause. Morse code, maybe, or a heartbeat. She clicked open the case file on her laptop, blinking at the image of Derek's face. But it wasn't the same face. The eyes were wrong, too wide. The color had changed subtly, barely but unmistakably. She checked the metadata. The image hadn't been updated, but it had been accessed by someone using her credentials. Yesterday, while she was off-grid, attending her father's funeral in Maine, she didn't tell anyone. Instead, she booked a room in a roadside motel 40 miles outside Flagstaff. Not for safety, for distance, for quiet. But the quiet there had edges, the kind you bump into at 3 a.m. when the air goes thin and the shadows breathe. She played the audio again, slowed, reversed, then filtered through software a friend at NSA once built to extract background frequencies from hostage calls. What came through wasn't language, it was teeth, gnashing, grinding, gnawing, followed by a sound like fabric tearing underwater. Then a voice. Not Derek's, not the woman's from the reflection either. This one was deeper, male, familiar. You remember wrong. That night, Harper started losing time. At first it was minutes, then hours. She'd glance at the clock, blink, and find it was the next day. The motel owner said she left the TV on for 3 days straight, volume maxed, staring at snow. But she didn't remember turning it on. What she did remember was the dream. Or maybe it wasn't a dream. The walls of the motel melting into the desert. Derek sitting across from her, his mouth sewn shut. He handed her a phone, old rotary style. She put it to her ear. Silence. Then a baby cried. Then her mother's voice, he's not gone. Just beneath, Harper woke up screaming with sand in her teeth. Back in town, the officers on the original call had started quitting quietly, without formal resignations. One had been admitted to a private mental health facility after claiming he saw Derek's face on his newborn daughter during a night feeding. Another drove his patrol car off a bridge but left a note in the glove box that simply said, she's coming through the wires. At this point, Harper knew she needed help. Or maybe just confirmation she wasn't insane. That's when she found Micah. Or rather, he found her. He claimed to be a tech analyst who worked for the same ISP Derek did. Said he'd seen the tablet before. Said the same woman's voice had once come through his speakers while he was watching a training video, alone in an empty office. He laughed too much, smiled at the wrong moments. Said he didn't sleep anymore. That it helped keep the signal out. Harper didn't trust him, not really, but he had data. Logs of access timestamps that shouldn't exist. Camera pings from Derek's tablet showing it active. Now, not 2 weeks ago, not before he vanished. Now, but here's where the cracks really started to show. Micah played her a screen recording of the tablet's GPS. The pin blinked in a warehouse district outside Tucson. But when she paused the video, the frame changed. It showed something else, something darker. A room, wooden floor. A man curled in a fetal position, wires threaded through his limbs like veins. Mouth open, no sound. Just the spinning wheel of buffering. And a timestamp, August 2nd, 3:14 p.m. Today, the exact time. Derek had first stepped out of his van. Harper slammed the laptop shut. Asked him what the hell that was. Micah just smiled and said, it's live feed. Then he scratched his neck until it bled and whispered, you can't stream what isn't real. But they're still watching. She left. Alone. On the drive back to the station, Harper heard her own voice playing through the radio. Not speaking, crying, begging. It was a call she didn't remember making. Then static cut in, and the voice changed. You found the file. Harper, but you don't remember what you deleted. The line cut. Her phone powered off on its own. When she finally returned to the precinct, her badge didn't work. Her login had been revoked. Her desk was cleaned out. They told her she resigned 3 days ago, left a voicemail saying she couldn't keep letting the memories in. She demanded to hear the recording. It was her voice. But she didn't recognize the words or the accent. She didn't even sound human. And there, on her former desk, was the envelope. No stamp, no address. Just her name, in red ink. Inside, a single photograph. Derek, standing outside her childhood home. Dated June 3, 1994. The day before her brother drowned in the pool. But Derek hadn't aged, not a day. And he was staring directly into the camera. She flipped the photo over, in the same handwriting. You were the first. He fixed your memory too. Harper dropped the photo. The walls began to breathe. Or maybe none of this was happening in the way it should. Because when she looked up, every screen in the precinct flickered on. Surveillance, monitors, body cam, live feeds, even the old CRT television mounted in the break room. All of them showed the same image. A baby, maybe a year old, sitting in a dark room, pointing at the camera. On loop, over and over, until, halfway through the loop, the baby stops, and says Harper's name. She screamed. No one heard her, because the room was empty. There was no precinct anymore. The floor beneath her feet crumbled into static. Somewhere, deep inside her mind, a door slammed shut. And from the other side, Derek whispered the same thing he whispered to the officers. But this time, she heard it clearly. He said, you're next. And then the lights went out. Just for 7 seconds, exactly 7. When they came back on, the body cam footage reloaded, and Harper was gone. The motel room smelled like wet wires and burnt plastic when Harper opened her eyes. She wasn't sure how long she'd been lying there, but the clock read 3:14 p.m., always 3:14. Her phone was dead. The television was playing something she didn't remember turning on. An old home video. Low quality, grainy, washed in the yellow tint of the 90s. Kids laughing. A summer barbecue. The voice of a woman, her mother, calling for someone off screen. Harper, don't go near the shed. But she couldn't remember any shed. Not there. Not then. Micah had vanished. She found his motel room abandoned. Walls scratched with symbols that looked like electrical diagrams twisted into spirals. The mirror was shattered. The glass arranged into the shape of an eye. In the center, written in his blood, the routers don't broadcast. They receive, she told herself this was delusion, trauma-induced, but it didn't feel like a hallucination. It felt like a correction. That night, Harper drove back to the neighborhood where it all started, where Derek was last seen. She passed the mailbox 3 times before stopping. The same house, same porch light, flickering like it always had. But the windows were bricked over now. A single camera faced the street, blinking red. She walked up the driveway slowly, as if retracing someone else's steps. The garage door was partially open. Inside, a chair, a table, a phone rotary, just like the one in the dream. It rang once, stopped, rang again. She picked it up, silence, then static, then her own voice. Asterisk, you're getting warmer. Asterisk, she spun, heart racing, but no one was there. Back at her car, she opened the case file one more time. And that's when she saw it, buried in an overlooked page of the witness statement, the teenager who made the call. He said Derek had stared at their house like he'd been there before. But he hadn't. Harper was sure. She'd double-checked. Then she looked closer. The teen's full name was James Nolan. Nolan, her foster brother. She hadn't seen him since they were both pulled from that home on the edge of Tucson when she was 9. The one with the shed her mother warned her about. The one she had forgotten existed until now. The memory slammed back into her skull like a floodlight in the dark. That summer, James had been found locked inside that shed, mouth full of dirt, eyes rolled back, repeating the same phrase for hours. Asterisk, it's not buried, it's stored. Everyone blamed trauma. Her foster father's arrest swept the rest under the rug, but Harper remembered now. The voices on the baby monitor at night, the way the VCR would play tapes they never owned, and the same man who came once a month to check the signal. It was Derek. He hadn't aged. Not then, not now. Harper tracked down Nolan, now 30, and living in a halfway house under a different name. He was gaunt, twitchy, only half there, but when she said Derek's name, he screamed. Not out of fear but relief. He thought she'd been taken to, thought she'd stopped broadcasting. He told her that the shed had never been real, that it was inserted, a memory overlay, a test signal, and that Derek wasn't fixing anything, he was calibrating them. That's when Harper thought she had it figured out. Some kind of government signal manipulation. MK Ultra 2.0. Digital mind control. That maybe they weren't going crazy, but were victims of a program no one was meant to survive. It felt satisfying, sharp, like an edge to grip onto in a collapsing world. She called a contact from DC, someone who owed her favors, and asked about black site memory engineering trials in Arizona during the 90s. There was a pause. Then the voice said something she hadn't expected. Asterisk, that file doesn't exist anymore. And if it did, you wouldn't be asking about Derek, you'd be asking about yourself. Asterisk, click. Suddenly, everything she thought she understood began to rot from the inside. At 3:14 a.m., her motel TV turned on again. This time, her childhood, a tape of her brother's funeral. She remembered it now, or thought she did. But the video glitched, stuttered, froze. In the frame behind the casket was a figure. Just for a second, tall, watching, wearing a service technician's uniform. Harper stared until her eyes burned. Then she noticed something worse. She was in the shot 2. Older now. Standing next to the figure. Smiling, she vomited, cried, tore the wires from the back of the TV like they were snakes. When she looked back up, the reflection in the black screen wasn't hers. Micah was behind her, but different, hollow, his mouth opened unnaturally wide, jaw splitting like a broken hinge. And from it came Harper's voice, layered and looped, whispering, Asterisk, you're not crazy, they lied to you. Asterisk, and then he vanished. A day later, Harper was found unconscious in a transmission substation 50 miles north, babbling in a language no one recognized, her arms covered in wire-shaped scars. She'd scratched something into her own skin before, collapsing. Asterisk, it's not a signal. It's a memory being played backwards. Asterisk, the official report said exhaustion, psychotic break, stress. Her badge was suspended. Her case was closed. The footage, corrupted beyond recovery. But one thing didn't line up. The timestamp on the substation security footage, it showed her arriving at 3:14 p.m., but the digital clock in the top right corner flickered, reversed, glitched, and then, for 3 frames, the date changed. August 2, 1994. The day her brother died, and there clear as day in the far corner of the footage, was a child, 5 years old, dressed in red, staring into the camera. It was Harper, and she was whispering the same phrase over and over again, lips barely moving, eyes locked on the viewer. Asterisk, you saw this already. Asterisk, and everything you thought you knew about the story. Starts to unravel. The first message came on a receipt. Harper had stopped at a gas station outside Sedona, half empty, forgotten, its neon sign humming like a throat full of static. She didn't remember driving there, couldn't recall how long she'd been on the road, but when she handed over cash for a bottle of water and some aspirin, the cashier, a woman with eyes too alert to knowing, folded the receipt twice before handing it back. Said nothing, just nodded once, like she knew something Harper didn't later. In the car, Harper unfolded it. Printed in clean, machine-precise text at the bottom. Beneath the list of items, asterisk, asterisk, we remember too. Look for the hand-drawn circles. Not all of us forgot. Asterisk, asterisk, she didn't sleep that night. Her dreams were crowded faces she didn't know, speaking in perfect unison, mouthing her name in a dark room lit by TV glow. Each time she awoke, her phone had moved once to the floor, once to her lap, and once most chillingly to her mouth, as if someone had tried to press it against her lips while she slept. The next morning, she found the first circle, drawn in chalk on the back of a road sign, a perfect spiral, tightly wound, with a symbol in the center that looked like a sideways eye split by static. She wouldn't have noticed it if she hadn't turned her rearview mirror by accident. And when she saw one, they were everywhere. Bus stops, underpasses, carved into rest stop picnic tables, each one different, but unmistakably connected. As if there were others like her, as if something ancient had woken up and left its fingerprints behind. By the third day, she started receiving emails from herself, old email accounts she hadn't used since college. She'd open her inbox and there they were, messages with subject lines like "You were right all along," or "Do not reply, they'll know." The bodies of the emails were mostly blank, except for coordinates and distorted images that took too long to load. Faces blurred, symbols nested inside, glitch diagrams. One attachment, an audio file, played nothing but silence for 6 minutes. But when she filtered it through audio editing software, a voice emerged beneath the noise, as if from a basement of sound. It was hers, but younger, and she was saying something terrifying. Asterisk, asterisk, they stitched us together. The gaps are on purpose. Your thoughts aren't yours. Asterisk, asterisk. At first, she thought she was slipping further, that this was psychosis sharpening its claws. But then she got the package. Unmarked, no postage, left on her car windshield in a hotel parking lot. She didn't remember checking inside an old VHS tape labeled in shaky handwriting. Asterisk, asterisk, found footage from 20 years ago. Flagstaff transmission relay. Asterisk, asterisk, she borrowed an old player from a pawn shop, hauled it to the room, and pressed play. The footage was raw, flickering, a handheld camera filming what looked like a public access broadcast studio in the 90s. A small crew, static on the monitors. A man walks in, tall, dark-skinned, wearing a technician's patch with a name that had been blacked out. It was Derek, but not just him. At the 30-minute mark, the camera pans accidental, maybe, and there she was. Harper, 8 years old, sitting in a folding chair, wires duct taped to her temples, her mouth moving, whispering into an unplugged microphone. Her eyes weren't her own, not even blinking. No one seemed to notice her. The screen went black. Then a single frame flickered. On a text slide, asterisk, asterisk, personality test, 1-2D, iteration 314. Subject H, Monroe, asterisk, asterisk, she screamed, fell backwards. The screen froze, but not on static. On her mouth still moving, whispering the same thing again and again. Asterisk, asterisk, it's not buried, it's stored. It's not buried, it's stored. She began noticing others, people who didn't speak, but recognized her. A woman on a bus handed her a torn photograph, half of Derek's face with a diagram scrawled in red ink on the back, labeled layered consciousness deployment. A man at a library slipped a newspaper clipping into her hand. Asterisk, 1994, power outage may be connected to disappearances of 3 children in state custody. Asterisk, the image accompanying the article showed a playground Harper had never been to, but she recognized the swing, because she dreamed of it often, always with a shadow standing behind her. Micah resurfaced. Only briefly, he sent a single text from an untraceable number. Asterisk, asterisk, you're the leak. That's why it's cracking. That's why we're bleeding through. Asterisk, asterisk, bleeding through. That phrase haunted her. As if reality itself had been layered. Not just for her, for everyone, for you. And then the dreams turned communal. She began seeing the same symbols others reported online in anonymous threads, chalk spirals. Radio towers twisted into skeletons, stairwells that led to nowhere but kept going down. Users from across the US posting similar experiences under handles that would disappear within minutes. She saved screenshots. Dozens. Most of them ended the same way. Asterisk, asterisk, you're not crazy, they lied to you. Asterisk, asterisk, then the observer made contact. She didn't have a name, only a voice. Older, measured, maybe a woman, maybe not. The first call came through an old landline phone at an abandoned train station where Harper had found a third spiral, drawn in ash. The voice said, asterisk, asterisk, you're awake. Now, that makes you dangerous. But you're not alone. There are 32 of you, all glitched, all misaligned. Asterisk, asterisk, Harper asked what that meant. The voice paused, then said, asterisk, asterisk, there's a sequence that's never supposed to complete. Something stored and you finished it. That's why you're seeing the folds, that's why the others are waking up. Asterisk, asterisk, before she could ask more, the line dropped. Dead. No dial tone, no buzz, The phone itself melted in her hands metal soft, like it had never been solid. She returned to the site where it started, the original house. It had been razed, bulldozed, but when she walked to where the router box once sat, the ground beneath her hummed. Her skin prickled, the air tasted metallic, and she could hear a low vibration not in her ears, but in her bones, like memory trying to claw its way back. That's when she saw the others. At first, just one, a woman in her 50s, standing motionless beside a no trespassing sign, humming the tune from an old broadcast jingle. Then another, a child, maybe 6, holding a drawing of spirals, eyes empty but fixed on Harper. Then more. They emerged from the trees, the road, the silence. 32 in total, standing, watching. All with the same expression, recognition. Then they pointed to the sky. A tower loomed above, rusted out of place, like it had been folded into existence. Not a cell tower. Not anything Harper recognized. The moment she looked directly at it, her knees buckled because she remembered it. It had always been there. She just hadn't been allowed to see it. That's when she understood. It wasn't Derek, not just him, he was one of many. A handler, maybe even a victim, like her. But the tower, the source, that was watching, that had been watching. Since childhood, through every screen, every blackout, every moment she lost time or dreamt in someone else's voice. And as the wind picked up, each of the 32 began to speak at once. Not loudly, not in panic, but like a rehearsal finally remembered. They said, asterisk, asterisk, it wasn't your memory. It was your recording. Asterisk, asterisk, Harper fell. She woke in a hospital bed with no chart, no name on the door. The nurse wouldn't meet her eye. The window didn't show anything but fog. No clock, no calendar. Her belongings were gone, but on the nightstand was a single receipt, folded once. At the bottom, asterisk, asterisk, this isn't the first time you've read this, asterisk, asterisk, and just like that, you realize you have seen this before. You were right all along. And the part of you that remembers is the part they never got to silence. Not yet, because the next scene has already begun. You are in it.